In short, I might totally disagree with what somebody says, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. That's called freedom of speech. We have unalienable rights that God gave us that cannot be taken away. The prospect that these oligarchs, or whatever you might want to call them, are going to shift to Europe is sort of like tits on a bull, in a way. And I'll qualify that. We've had a lot of financial fun and games over there, along with a lot of political fun and games. Greece keeps asking for help, and recently Germany told them to shut up. They didn't want to hear it. Spain recently had a bailout of their banks and did not get the funding that they had requested. The reason being for these things is that they no longer have the financial power and capability to answer the call to assistance. What that does is that removes a majority of the base powers that these people have enjoyed for centuries and lorded over us in varying ways. Right now, we're having about, on average, 20 to 50 countries get on the my website, get on Lady Dragon's website, and visiting Global Voice. The reason being is that they've been hungry for freedom since before the United States started. Now they're looking to us to finalize the action. They've seen what we did in terms of our War of Independence, and they are seeing the capability that they have now in terms of individual groups fighting against the idea that government is absolutely in control. So with the lesser financial condition, and it's worse there than it is here, with a lesser financial condition and the problem that the people are beginning more and more in greater numbers to object, that would not be a place I would want to go.
Absolutely.
I'll suggest that this referendum, this ideology that one group of individuals, United Nations or whatever, might be able to rule the planet, and I mean rule. There's a difference between government and rulership. Anybody who has been under a monarchy knows that the king or queen can actually make a law subject to the individual that they don't like to hear the squeaky wheel from. This is the kind of stepping on people and abusing people that the world has had enough of. And this is the reason for the protesting. This is the reason for the objection. I'm a human being, and I deserve a certain amount of dignity. I'm mad as hell, and I ain't going to take it no more. Just that simple. Just like that old movie says, nothing more, nothing less. If you want to read biblical prophecy into things, you can. That's been done by a number of people and a number of groups. You need to know that these absolutes are variables in some ways. In other words, you may have a war of a different type. It may be a financial and political war instead of the all-out war of an Armageddon in terms of what it's been stated to be. You have to remember one thing. All of the content that we know, most Christians and other people that use the Bible are familiar with, was voted on by a group of the same people that wanted to retain the combination of financial and political power exercised by the church in the days that it was most powerful. That power shifted a little bit, not a great deal, but some, into the political realm and financial realm. So now we got more than just a an ideology to keep an eye on. God being absolute, then I would love to see some of that absolute judgment in the form of lightning bolts attached to certain people who desperately deserve it. And that's my answer to that.
Okay, Drake. Let's see. We have our next caller is Sinclair. Give me just 1 second here. Okay, Sinclair, you're live.
Hello, this is Sinclair calling from Kanakastania. Peace to everyone. I have one brief question for you and two for Lady Dragon. Drake, I know what shell shock is, and I'm not looking forward to a violent revolution in North America, but during your last show, you mentioned the military knocking on our doors. Today you seem to be implying the military has now stood down in support of the people. Yet Rick Light is suggesting don't fear the military. What gives?
Okay, it's very simple. The good guys are not going to come to extract you. They're going to come to make contact. You got food and water? You okay? Yeah, we're fine. Okay, thank you. We're just checking. And they leave. Okay, this would be one form of the good guys. Another form would be where you have the military not acting in a military stance toward civilians. In other words, contacting the militias directly, specifically, to request their assistance. We don't have enough hands, and we'd like you to watch such and such over here. Would you be willing to do that? Help our country out? Well, yeah, sure I would. How are we going to get there? We're just going to go get in that truck. We'll take you over right now. Okay, bingo. The other part is that telling the good guys from the bad guys is simple. They got a patch that says UN, and if the stars and bars are not above it, then they have committed an act of treason in terms of aligning themselves with a foreign entity. Number two, those who would extract people from their homes, taking your guns, your food, etc., or you, ain't the good guys. The good guys are not going to do that. So you have to look at a variety of things. The stand down of the military, meaning not taking a military action toward the civilians. The stand down of the militia is absolutely be ready, right down to the little toothpick that you might want to carry. But don't be quick to pull the trigger. You might shoot the wrong person and start a battle that you don't want. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration. There's going to be judgment made in terms of what action to take. And these things are all subject to constitutionality. So your constitutional rights should be upheld by any of the good guys. Those who do not are subject to whatever you feel is necessary to stop their activities. Just that simple.
Okay, Mr. Sinclair, you had, we're down to like 6 minutes, and if you had a question for Lady Dragon. Lady Dragon, you're live on too to answer. Sinclair, go ahead with your first question for Lady Dragon.
Yes, Lady Dragon, why do you censor your chat room to those who ask simple questions concerning a common law solution to Canada's predicament? Ever since you opened your chat room, I have been asking the same questions, which have always been evaded by either you or your moderators. Just by who and where?
Sir, this is not personal question. Okay, I'm sorry, I muted him out. If he's got questions about the chat room,
can I answer the question? Can I answer the question?
You can go ahead and answer it, Lady Dragon.
Oh, because he is being selective in his question. He doesn't say how much negative. The chat is there for people to bring together in order to bring positive question, positive information. He has trashed Drake, Denise, me, and then he comes up and trash me and you and all. So there's people like that. They have time to waste. So let's move on, please.
Okay. Thank you, Lady Dragon. Thank you. Okay. Let me see if we have another caller with a question. Okay. Area code 702. Did you have a question for Drake?
Yes, thank you. And first I want to go out to all the beautiful women out there. This is the Pots and Pans.
Oh, there we go.
Freedom. Hey, my coworker gave me a silver spoon today, so I'm going to use it wisely against the pan for the rest of my freedom life. Hey, I am curious because I've been listening to Drake for about 4 months now, and I'm seeing kind of a pattern here. Like you have North and South Korea, you have North and South Vietnam, you have East versus West. It seems like the cabal is divide and conquer. I look at a lot of these wonderful people trying to express freedom, and it seems like the cabal is trying to infiltrate different societies to spread and basically divide and conquer. Can you comment on that, Drake?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. That's one of the forms of political activity that is common. As with certain freedom aspects, I don't disallow somebody to make a comment to me, no matter how funky it might be. People have the freedom of choice that God gave them to believe or not as they so choose. If they don't choose to believe me and they want to raise an objection to that, that's fine. I have no problem with it. If someone wanted to exercise true freedom, there's two ways to do that. One's personal, and the other one is the situation where you go out and try to make sure that other people become aware. This is the greatest responsibility of someone who is patriotic to whatever nation they may be in. The freedom of individuals in an individual nation should be the highest form of governance, making sure that the public servants, the people that work for the people, are seeing to the common good of the people. Simple things of that nature. Hopefully that answers that question.
All right, thank you. God bless, and keep up the good work.
Okay. Okay. We got another question, or are we out of time, or what?
Question from the chat room. They understand all the information, but can we expect that the banks will immediately close down if direct action is taken at the beginning of the week?
That's a possibility. I'm not going to say definitely it will because I've not been given that information as of yet. My understanding is that the military would like to see something taking the some sort of action being taken to the extent that we see a control, whether it's a legal control in the form of a lien, where they need to and are required to repay what they've borrowed or leveraged or stolen, and that would reduce the cabal to having no financial power. This is primarily what would be looked at. Now, that does not mean that the military cannot go ahead and take their action. They can. And I'm hoping that they do. Okay?
Okay, Drake. I want to let our listeners know that the document that Drake was going to post on his website, it's in the form of a PDF, and we are working on getting that up now. If we do not, before the show ends, we will have links to it on the Global Voice 2012 Facebook page, as well as it will be available on Drake's website at AmericanNationalMilitia.com. As soon as we can get it up there. It's unfortunate. Drake's helper has had a bad thunderstorm and a power outage, and we're trying to get that up. Okay, let's see. Drake, I think that is all of the questions that we're going to have time to answer at this point. Lady Dragon, yes. We wish to thank you for being with us, and as always, let's see, it looks like